Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for joining us to wow, words today are tough. Let me tell you, Josh, it's been a week. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Happy
thank you
Friday.
for joining us. Yeah, happy Friday. This is a
What
show
show is this?
every Friday called Riff and Refine. And today, Will's brain stopped working.
There we go.
But I
It's
actually have
always
something else that I wanted to mention. You know what I realized last night as I was thinking about our show today?
let me see it.
I I want to be Mythbusters.
Ooh.
Like I think I don't know. I was just like, have you ever seen Adam Savage's other show that he started doing after they were done with Mythbusters? It's just like his YouTube channel, and he has this shop, and
Yep.
he just films himself doing
Bunch
whatever,
of random
a
stuff.
bunch of
Yep.
random stuff, and I just like I want that. I don't
Hmm.
like I don't know where this show goes in the future with us, but I'm like, whatever that ethos is of just like doing things, creating things, and not just showing how cool it is to do those things. Man, I just want that. I don't care whether it's digital or physical or whatever. It
Yeah.
just popped in my head last night. I just
I
wanted to share it.
I like that because I think about stuff like that a lot myself too. Like where it's like it feels like those type of people have kind of almost paid their dues and then they just get
Right,
to
right,
like
right.
experiment, explore. I've been thinking about this a lot recently because it's like I am wanting to build my own synthesizer and I'm going down this
Ooh,
huge deep rabbit hole of
yeah,
what
changing
a
like
Raspberry Pi is and like
mm-hmm.
how does MIDI like
That's
affect
so cool.
that, and it's it's so much fun, but it's also it is a lot
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same time.
It is. It is 100% a lot, and it gets me thinking about, I'll just give my update, of what I did last week. The well, part of what I did was chat with, Chris Sev about my upcoming Laracon talk. My talk's done. Um, Now I've just gotta practice it, 200 times to make sure I nail it.
There you go.
But the I had a second conversation with him where we kinda went over like the flow, the rhythm of the talk.
Hmm.
And one thing that he actually talked about was like doing things in layers, kind of like with what you're talking about, which is like every project, no matter how ambitious or small, like there's always layers to the complexity.
Yeah.
Where like what you're talking about. Like I'm sure that there's like, oh, there's probably something high level, but there's also like once you figure out the high level, then you got to do the low level, and then you got to do the level. I don't know. Like, is that what you're kind of experiencing?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, Nuno in the chat. Happy Friday, everyone. Literally 200 times.
Yes,
Same here.
one million
It's funny because
percent.
I got to watch Nuno like literally it was like backstage practicing, and he had already prepared like up until then, but he was
Hmm.
literally like going through the full talk
Right.
as he was doing it. It's one of those things where yeah, Aaron Francis would be proud you're practicing it. Says AJ. It's one of those things where I think there's that high level stuff of,
Hmm.
hey, it's really this easy. It's like, I don't know, it's like making a video. It's really as simple as just pressing record and then just doing the thing. But at the same
Hmm.
time, it's also that process of, oh, you also need to make sure that you are engaging. You also need to make sure that the way you say something is not something that people are just going to immediately get
Hmm.
turned off
Hmm.
on, and
Hmm.
then all
Right.
those little things, especially with the talk too, where it's like you have this high level, this is what I want to tell everyone, that's the gist of it, but then there's all those little aspects of,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
well, when are people going to turn off and tune out or just phase out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's like you get a feel for that only by actually doing it in front of somebody. So like
Yep.
Allie, who is about to hear my talk way too many times over the next week, is not going to be who cares. Like she cares literally nothing about technology, Laravel, whatever I'm doing, but she's really good at like being a listener and being able to say like this, even though I don't understand all of it, like I felt like I got lost here and here. So
Yep. That's
see this from
usually
Carl.
the best people to kind of like get those feedback from are the people who don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Because it's like they can't fill the gaps.
Happy birthday week, Carl.
Absolutely. And the answer is yes. We
are
will
gonna be here.
hanging out next week. We have a courtesy of Josh, we have guest number 2 coming. I'm trying to figure out how we want to do it. Do we want to like not tell people about guests until like the time of, or should we like get people hype ahead of time?
I'm curious about that. I think we can get people hyped ahead of time. It is confirmed. So like we should probably like start saying that kind of thing. Yeah, we have Rob Hope.
News.
Rob Hope next week, who kind of jumped in on the chat last week for John and Nolan show and was like, we were like, hey, why don't you come on? So he's coming on. Come on next week. Super excited for that.
Yes. I'm very excited about it. I think he's gonna be a great guest. He's been doing his podcast and like creative stuff for like a real long time.
A long time. He was one of the first inspirations for me to create my first digital product, like to sell.
Really?
So like it's really fun to be able to chat with him.
Oh, okay.
Any other updates from you, Will, from last week?
I do actually.
Nice.
Oh, I had one and I lost it. Let's jump to you, and then I'm sure I'll bring it back.
Sweet. Yeah, the reason why I titled this talk leaving your fingerprint, and it's funny because Jason
I was like, why is Jason talking about fingerprints?
I don't want to leave my
the show.
I don't want to leave my fingerprint, my glasses, and a crime scene. Those are the 2 places. But yeah, because this past week I've been thinking a lot about a lot of it has been kind of optimizing for, and I kind of like even said this the past week, but it's just kind of a continuum of optimizing, as well as, okay, what are the things that I actually care about doing? And what are the things that are kind of like, hey, these are aspirations, and I probably shouldn't put too much focus and attention on them within like my personal life, family life, that kind of thing. So this past week, I have been working with an editor, AJ, in the chat, actually, is my editor for my YouTube channel. It's one of those things where I have had to like put less effort into this process of, I do like editing, and I do like editing my own videos, but it's also it's a process. It's double the time that I would spend everywhere else, and being able to kind of optimize, as well as like in the sense of, okay, when I want the week to be done, did I want to leave my fingerprint all over learning about like, oh, I spent 3 hours this week editing videos, instead of maybe I could have learned something new. Maybe I could have spent more time with my family. Maybe I could have done X, Y, or Z. So like,
oh, I love that.
That's why I've been doing more of this week, and kind of like what I'm going to be talking about for next week is like one of those things where now I get to like have these like fun ideas in my head of like, oh, work is done. All that kind of stuff is kind of like put out of my mind. Now, like, what's something that I can put more attention and focus on, instead of just trying to play catch up in a lot of ways.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I listened to big fan of both of ours, Jay Klaus, interviewed another big fan of both of ours, Colin and Samir.
We need to get both of them on the show.
Yes, fantastic. And the Colin and Samir said something when they were talking about like how to like create a business out of being a creator, or just like in general. Like I think they were just kind of talking in general about like creating a business out of making, whether it's video or other things. And it was something that I resonated with. They said, don't turn your passion into a product.
Okay.
And the reason that he said that was because to turn something into a business requires you to be able to look at it and say like, what can scale? And if you're passionate about something, like you're mentioning, like it takes you like double the time as other tasks to do editing. So to be able to scale what you're trying to do, you had to offload that to somebody else. And they were talking about it in the context of like doing documentaries. Like they can't do documentaries as like a business model because they just love it too much. They get too into it. They can't scale it. They'd lose money because they spend so much time, because they care so much about how it's done and every little detail of it. Like the success comes from the doing, not from like the outcome.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like what the point was, which is like, if there's something that the fulfillment that you get out of it comes from like doing it, then like that's not your line of revenue. Like find things that like you might enjoy doing, but you could still like enjoy the thing with while being able to pass off like other pieces of it to scale. So I thought that was like exactly what you're talking about. Just
Yeah,
like
it reminds me of a podcast that I listened to. This was probably close to like 2 years ago now. I can't remember if Adam Wathan was on Mostly Technical or if it was on his podcast with um
it might have
uh
also been on Art of Product. He was on there
art.
quite a bit.
It might have been Art of Product as well. Or it might have been Justin Jackson's
Who knows?
show.
Adam's everywhere.
Adam's everywhere.
Somewhere
It was one of
Adam's
those.
dead.
But he talked about how the one thing that he had to learn as a founder, and of course, Tailwind and Tailwind Labs is huge, at least like revenue wise, in the sense of like, okay, there's a lot of stuff to go on. And it was less about giving up the things that he knew that he had to give up, and more about, okay, what are the things that I really not less about the things of like, oh, here's the things that I dislike, let me pass those off, and more about here's the things that I really like. I want to do everything to make sure that I don't have to stop doing those things.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. That was
And then
I actually legit remember that conversation. That was such a good. I remember it was a long one. I remember whatever episode it was like a really long
one, yeah.
podcast. And I think it was with Ben. I think it was on Art of Product.
It was Ben. Okay.
Ben. Because Ben was kind of going through some of the same stuff, scaling up.
Yep. And I that's always stuck with me in the sense of like, I'm not anywhere near that kind of level yet, and have never like had to scale a company. But at the same time, there's so many things. Like I feel like I have a lot of hands in a lot of like different pies when it comes to like personal, creative, like my church stuff, my work stuff. There's so many things I have, and it's like, okay, well, what are the things even in each one of those buckets that I really like doing that I don't want to give up, and how can I do that more? And that's always kind of like been on my mind, and kind of like has flowed out into why I have a home office versus like going somewhere, why I why I chose to get an editor instead of like someone to help me film videos or something like that.
Yeah. I know. I think you're exactly right on that, and it kind of segues. I remembered what my update was, but it doesn't segue into this, so we'll circle back to that.
We'll circle back.
It kind of just segues right into like the first topic that I had.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, which it's titled like "What Can You Do That No One Else Can?" And so this came to me right before bed as I was like going to sleep, because one of Allie either falls asleep to one of two things. She either falls asleep to Beat Bobby Flay, or she falls asleep to like some home renovation show. And like we've watched just about.
I feel like your wife is like exactly my wife, except with Gordon Ramsay, not Bobby Flay.
Oh, yeah.
Any Gordon Ramsay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know how you fall asleep to Gordon Ramsay though. He's just like yelling at you the whole time. Maybe it's just.
Well, that's the show we watch before she falls asleep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm always up like reading. I like hang out and like we go to bed at the same time. That's like one of our rules is like we go to bed together, but I'll just like she'll fall asleep and I'll stay up and I'll like read like a book, or like with AI now, like I actually do stuff on my phone with AI. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is we were watching this show. It was called For the Love of Kitchens. And it was this home renovation show about a company based out of Great Britain called Deval. And they are known now as one of the greatest kitchen renovation companies of all history. And one thing that they do that I noticed as part of the show was they manufacture their own stuff. And the reason why, like, they get like very high profile, like very wealthy clients that want them to redo kitchens, but that's not like where they started out. They started out as just the two guys who loved woodworking, who wanted to build like custom cabinetry for kitchens. And that's like where they started, was just like as a cabinet business. Then they kind of like leveled into designing the rest of like getting designers and doing like full kitchen renovations, not just doing cabinets and furniture type stuff. And then like eventually they morphed over time into what they are today. And the reason like why they have such like high paid clientele and all this stuff is because they like transformed their business by identifying like what are the things that only we can do,
Mm.
and like what would people pay us because only we do it. And that turned into them like they manufacture like all like when they do a kitchen renovation, you're using everything that's theirs except for like maybe like countertops or something like that where it's just stone. But like they manufacture their own sinks, they manufacture their own hardware, they manufacture like tile for backsplashes and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like watching this and I was just like, something about this just feels so good. Like I love that they took because they stuck with it for so long and they had this expertise, this understanding of kitchens and kitchen design, and they've designed so many kitchens that they started having their own ideas, that they built up like a manufacturing process so that like their design was actually fully theirs. And like you can only get like it's not like they said, "Okay, we're going to be like a curator of like good other pieces." They're like, "No, we're going to actually make the pieces." So like you can
Yeah.
only get our kitchen designs from us. It's not like, "Oh, I want to make my kitchen look like X designer and here's the products that they use." It's like, "Nope, Devol stuff comes from Devol." That's
Yeah.
it. It's like I don't know. I just thought that was just I watched that and my mind was just like this is such a interesting like storyline.
That is interesting. I it makes me think of kind of like I don't know what where my mind has been the past probably like about a month in the sense of this area, and we kind of talked about like this is like this very start of this show of like where do we both want to go? Where does the show fit into that? How does it get us there? But at the same time, it's also like you know priming the wheels of this kind of content delivery and also
Right.
priming those muscles of what we do and everything like that. Uh, and so I think about I am not going to be fill in the blank XYZ YouTuber, fill in the
Mhm.
blank people that I look up to or people that I'm like, oh, it would be really cool if I was like in their shoes for my life in the sense.
Right.
But at the same time, I know that, and you can kind of get into like more like philosophical or like even like spiritual aspect of it. Like where like I know that I'm not
Lay it on.
them, but I also need to lean more into okay, well, what do I deliver? And I think it's really hard
Mhm.
for individuals. And like I think when you're on a like when I was like unemployed, this is when I was like
Right.
struggled with this the most. Like, how am I going to get a job when I thought this so many times, and I was even on a podcast this week where like
Ooh,
they asked this question of like I thought about I had never been in a DevRel role, but that was my dream job. I was like, oh, a
right.
theater kid who does tech and stuff like that. And I was like, at the time when I was unemployed, I was like, I know at least 7 DevRel people who are 10 times better at me at almost everything. Why would I get a job before them?
Mhm.
But I think, during that time and especially after that time, I've learned the things that I know that I can do better than anyone else, or at least like that I'm more passionate about. So I'm just going to
Mhm.
naturally grow in that quicker than more people. And I think it's one of those
I
things
love
that
that.
it's easy to lean more into the okay, now I'm like prideful, arrogant,
Mm.
and just like kind of like a D-bag about this because like, oh, this is me.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at
Yeah,
this. No one else can do this. But I
right.
think there's that balance of, oh, I know that, you know, I can do this really well. So if that is the one thing that I can do really well that no one else can, at
Right.
least in my sphere of influence, why don't I just lean into that?
Lean into it. Yep. 100%. It's got me I've come like had the same I mean, it's imposter syndrome, like
Oh yeah.
there's this whole thing where, like I see myself and I'm like, as a designer, I'm like, oh man, look at all these incredible designers. And then like as an engineer, I'm like, oh my goodness, like look at these like really smart, really technical minded engineers. And I'm like, man, I'm never gonna be them. I should give up, you know?
Yep.
And I'm like, wait, but like who is then it's like what you said, like, but what am I good at? Like why do I seem to have found success in my career? Like what makes people like enjoy working with me if they do? I feel like they do. So it's like
Yeah.
what are those pieces, you know? And like I've had to go through that journey myself where it's like what are the pieces for me like of my personality and the way that I work that make me like valuable. And
Mm.
it's really interesting figuring some of that stuff out for yourself.
So I'm curious then, Will, for people like in the chat or like listening to this
Okay.
when it releases on Monday, what is like the first step you would think that
Figuring
either
this out.
you personally did of figuring it out, of being like, okay, well, I know that this is true, because like that's like the whole topic, is like what can you do that no one else can?
Right.
But how do you find that out? What's your
I, th-
process?
I think there's like a couple things. One is just to like genuinely slow down for a little bit and think about times in your past that like you felt like Neo in the Matrix. You know, like when you had that moment where you were like, "Oh man, I'm dodging bullets." Like you're feeling so confident about what you're currently working on that
Mhm.
you are like on top of you're like the mountain, you know? So I think like part of it's that. Part of it is asking others. That is what I've always found interesting is like not shying away from asking people who you've worked with to say like, "Hey, like what what do you think is like my strong suit, like my strengths? Why do you like working with me? Like what are things that I'm not good at that you think like I could be better at?" Like phrasing it like that gives you a pretty good spectrum from other people's viewpoint. You know, like my have a spouse who's like not afraid to just roast you because because Allie on a regular basis like helps me figure out like, oh yeah, like I'm just not the guy who can like plan and remember like every detail, but
Yeah.
I am very good at being like calm and collected in situations where like nobody knows what's going on. You know, like I'm very good at riffing. Um not as good at refining, you know? So that's kind of like that's like the process which is just like you have to look in your past about like what you felt you did a good job at and then don't be afraid to like ask the people you've worked with because they're going to have a more honest answer than what you have. The thing is like they're going to be also kind of wrong about it and like that's why you have to ask yourself because it's like it's the overlap between those two things where
Mhm.
it's like, oh, this person says that they feel like they've always felt I'm good at XYZ, but like I've never thought I'm good at that because this is what I like. And like putting those two together is like where you kind of find what we've talked about, which is just like what makes you different. Because there's probably a lot of people who like React development or whatever. But like your coworker says like, "Hey, Will, like I like working with you because like you're really good at us being given a problem and like immediately being able to like break it down into like smaller solutions and problems that we all can like understand." You know, like so like maybe that's like maybe I'm not the best React developer ever, but like maybe I'm good at getting very vague requirements and being able to like turn them into like very concrete like things to solve for people, you know? And like
Yeah.
putting those two together means that I'm like probably very good at working with like front end code and being the one to like do greenfield like work and not necessarily like maintenance type work.
Yep. Completely agree. Few things in the chat. AJ says asking the average programmer to have a spouse. Yeah, I guess that's one thing.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good one.
But yeah, Ashley says +1 asking people you work with, because I think that's key, and that was what I was going to point out as well. Is like a lot of times I think it's asking people you
Mm,
work with, okay, hey, what am I good at? But it's also kind of listening and kind of like being
mm,
receptive. Most people are really bad at being reflective on their own individual skills, let alone their own individual like personal, like interpersonal relationships,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's easy to evaluate why someone else is not good at X, Y, or Z, or why you don't like working with them. But it's really hard to be like, okay, well, why don't we blend together? Like maybe it's not like if you have been in a relationship or you have a spouse, like it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we've learned that okay, in every situation, it's not just one of us is right, one of us is wrong.
Mm,
Usually it's
yeah,
like
some gray space in the middle.
yeah, like I'm not good at this and she's not good at that. And then like we just don't we have to like
Yeah.
figure out, okay, well, where are we good at this?
What's
And I
that
think
phrase? There's some phrase where it's like you judge others by their actions, but by yourself by your intentions. That
interesting. I
I
haven't
feel like
heard that.
plays it's a I think it's like one of the best phrases just for like self-respection. Introspection is hard, yo. That's hilarious. Yeah, it is hard because like you're always the most generous to yourself,
Yep.
but you bluntly judge others most of the time. I'm not saying every time, but like as a general rule, you know the thought process and like what you meant, even if that wasn't that outcome. Whereas like
Yep.
other people, all you're seeing is their outcome unless you ask and talk about it. So it's like, I don't know. It's a great phrase.
Yep. So I think it's asking others, but then also like trying to evaluate why maybe you have a team of 3 to 5 or
Mhm.
something. Maybe you have a team of less. But why do you always get stuck with this certain part of the work where they're like, like so
Right.
and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so and so can do that. And maybe that's like, okay, you're just the yes man or whatever. Like there's maybe a part of that, but there's also probably a part too where it's like, hey, they have evaluated that you are better at this than at least your circle of your team. So maybe that's something to think about. And then so I think you take that and then you combine it with this. I think it's these two spheres. Like, what are you passionate and excited
Mhm.
about? And then what have you evaluated that either you're really good at or people have told you you're really good at, or that you just naturally find
Right.
like a
Right.
find completeness with, and then you kind of marry those two, I
Marry
think.
them. That's so good. Well, I am interested to hear like how are you you sound like you've done that or have been trying to do that. Do you have
Trying.
like any do you have any like results yet on that? Like where have you kind of landed so far with that? Maybe we could do kind of like a check-in thing on that where it's like, "Oh, I think I'm here, but I'm not figured it out 100% yet."
Yeah, we could put a number system on it. And if you're in the chat
Ooh, there
right
you
now,
go.
let us know.
Yeah.
Like one is I have no idea what I am good at and I am
Mhm.
struggling with how to find it. And 10 is I know exactly what I'm good at and I'm never going to I don't know. 10 is you have it all figured out and you're perfect.
Right,
I
like,
am probably
you are perfectly on the career path and the lane that you wanna be, and you'll do this till
yep,
you retire, and then, like, there's a spectrum in between where one is like, "I'm looking to change what I'm doing right now."
yep.
Ooh, someone's 6 to 7. That's like I feel
7, we
like
got
that's
some
probably, like, above average, like, above average is probably gonna be, like, in the 7-ish range, I would
got
think.
some
Oh,
points here,
actually,
4.6. There you
4.6.
go.
Oh, snap.
I got a
Ashley's
1.
doing
Sorry to
some
hear that,
soul
Vinette.
searching.
But yeah, I
A
think
1.
I think for me, it's one of those things where even if I'm a lower scale, it doesn't mean like I'm not happy with where I'm at.
Right, right,
It
right.
it just means that I don't know if that's what I find fulfillment in
Your
for the rest of my
trajectory.
life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Your
Uh,
trajectory has changed
yeah,
since you, like, ended up where you're at now.
exactly. I think my trajectory changes frequently, and maybe that's less of me not knowing and more of me just being I like trying new things in a lot of ways. But I'm probably at a solid 7 right now. In the
Okay.
sense that I maybe not necessarily where I'm currently at, but I feel like I'm at 7 in the sense that I know the next steps
Mm,
in the
mhm,
next 3
mhm.
to 5 years kind of thing, or at least the outcome or the result, and I
Yeah,
know what it will take to get there in that sense.
mhm. I think I wanna say I'm, like, at a 4,
Okay.
maybe 4 to 5. And the reason that I say that I think I might be at, like, a 4 to 5 is because I think that I I know that what I'm doing right now is not what I want to be doing.
Hmm.
And I have ideas, multiple ideas of, like, what I think I would enjoy doing
Yeah.
otherwise, but they are kind of a little bit in conflict,
Okay.
um, so it's like I don't know if I've found the right way to marry everything. So I'm gonna tie this in. We'll jump. I want to jump to your link that you have. And so we'll put a bow on this. But I think I'll end with my update that I remembered because I think it ties in perfectly right here, which
There you
is
go.
um, I have a secret project.
Okay.
I have something that came up last week um, for like a new thing that I can be a part of, and I think it like goes very, very much along what we're trying to do here. Uh, but I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's not going to like start for like a couple months.
Okay.
It's not like a new job. It's
Yeah.
not like that kind of thing. It's just like a little like side little like like creator project with a few other people where they were like, "Hey, I think this could be fun if we tried this, and I think you would be a good personality to be a part of it."
Mm.
And I was just like, "Why not? Let's try this." And so like that's like my update is like I think I'm going to be doing something that is like very very new for me, but I think it's more in line with like where I want to be headed with the type of stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. We'll have to see how said secret project goes, and I'll tell y'all more about it as I'm allowed to slash actually know more about it. But
I love it. Why don't we in like a month? So in
yep,
August at this
yep.
time,
End of
we'll check
August would
back in
be
and be like,
just about the right time to check in.
we'll check in and we'll be like, okay, are we still at 7 and 4?
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
what,
I
what is it
think I
now?
think I'll have a lot more information by then. I think like doing these conference talks is also part of it. Like I wanted to like speak at conferences. I wanted to like just get out there and try to do more than be behind a computer screen building things anonymously, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the end goal looks like, but I just want to I don't know, like I've also I've also recently had two people that I helped them find a job. Um and that was like very fulfilling. And the
Hmm.
reason that it worked was not because I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to like help people find jobs. Can I help you?" Like I'm not like Mr.
Yeah.
Career
Yeah.
Guru kind of guy, but just because of like relationships that I'd built, both with like the people who are looking for a job and with people who like want to hire people, like I just was able to like connect a couple people very organically and like it's like one of those situations where it's like, okay, this happened to me where like somebody got me a job because of a relationship that I had, and like I'm forever grateful to that person. And I just had that moment where it's like, oh, I think I might be that guy for two other people where I like help them
Mm.
find a new role that's going to be like very good for them. And so now I get to like, I don't know, like give back to like a
Yeah.
piece of like my career story. I don't know. Lots of that's why I'm like a 4 out of 5. It's like
Yeah.
there's just so many different
Lots
things
of
going on.
questions.
Yeah, and I just got to figure it out. So we'll circle back around and see if I can make a cohesive whole out of the mini balls that are juggling in my head right now.
Sweet. Let's do it. Well, yeah, I found this link. I didn't find it, but I mean, I did find it, but it's been in my backlog for about like 2 months. So I figured like this would be
Okay.
a perfect time because I think it blends with like these topics that we're kind of talking about today. But for those who don't know, this is Hank Green, and that name might sound familiar, but this even like I actually hadn't looked at his website until like right before the show, and I was like, oh,
Right.
this actually fits with our. This is like what we all are about. Make things, learn stuff. I was like, oh,
Heck yeah.
interesting. But he's an author. I like his most popular book is which one is it that I'm thinking about? Like, I feel like he's written more books than this, right? About Hank. Let's see. Press. I feel like he's written more books than this.
He probably has.
Maybe not.
Just like his two best.
But I have not read most of his books. Um, but I have read a couple of his books. I think he has more. I could be wrong on that. Maybe I'm outing myself as not like a true fan. But I think he embodies like this, and even like his website says, like make things, learn stuff. I think he's actually the brother of John Green,
Yes.
who wrote Fault in Our Stars
Oh,
as
really?
well.
Huh.
I
Okay.
think. Is that the right Green? I'm
I'm
pretty
gonna go
sure
with
he is.
I'm gonna go
Let,
with sure.
let's see. John Green and Hank Green. Let's see. They are brothers. Yes. Yeah. So John Green is his brother that writes, and like Hank Green still writes, but he does like other stuff. But I love like this quote that pulled up on the website, and then I saw this thread on Twitter that was basically like,
Ooh.
he's been making videos for over a decade,
Okay.
millions of views, thousands of scripts, and these were his 5 tricks for writing YouTube videos that work. And I've been in this world. I mean, I've been in this world for now like a couple of years in the sense of like I feel like it's been invading my brain. But just this last month, I want to learn everything about why YouTube works the way it does, what makes good
Mhm,
things,
mhm, mhm.
every single aspect of it. And so this kind of like popped up again. And I wanted to like go through it because it's really interesting and we can like
Okay.
listen to it too. But this is the first one.
Oh,
Start with your
I like short. Yeah.
yeah, it's super short. Start with your frame, not just your topic. Every topic has 1,000 angles. What matters is picking the one that sparks curiosity. So he says, let's see. Can we hear that? We cannot hear that.
I cannot hear that.
All right. But he's talking about this topic of like the dire wolf, and so
Oh, okay.
you have like this dire wolf thing is crap, okay, or this dire wolf thing is so exciting. Oh, and you're like, good to know. But this is good, and it's also bad, so bad
Okay.
that, and now people start to ask questions, and so it's this curiosity topic
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
you need to start with your frame and not just a topic of, oh, the direwolf thing is bad. Oh, the direwolf thing is good. So that was the first thing that kind of popped into mind.
Yeah, I like that.
Second one is act fast on trending ideas. So this topic of um why I actually like doing this show is like a lot of times like there's
Mm,
something that
mhm.
pops up and we can talk about it. Like we can talk about it literally like, oh, it happened yesterday or it happened 3 days ago, it happened a week ago.
Right,
But at the
right,
same
right.
time, there's so much things that when it comes to finding, and this I think this is not just content creation, but it's also like product, it's also design. It's like, oh, you see that this is starting to happen. The quicker you get on it, usually the better outcome you have.
Mhm.
Next is escalate the stakes in the sense of don't just deliver what the title and thumbnail promised, go beyond it. And so this is something that really stuck with my head and what I was kind of wanting. It kind of really talks about the topic that we just discussed, where it's like
Right.
you can do one thing really well of getting people to, enjoy the thing and learn what you promised that you would tell them. But at the same time, you could also be like, hey, this is a twist or a consequence or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that as another little nugget for people when they
Right,
enjoy the
right.
things that you
If you
do.
just give them what they expected to get out of the video, it's almost not memorable. You know, like, content that was what you expected it to be,
Mm,
you might be grateful for, be like, "Okay, good, that worked." But you're not gonna be like, "Oh, snap," like, "Oh, wow, like, this was so good," you know?
yep.
I really like that. That's a really interesting one.
And I didn't put this in here because I saw your topic, but it's funny how it just flows naturally because I think this is like the thing that I am slowly starting to learn. I haven't mastered yet, but it's the
Yes, okay.
fact that like I struggled with this, especially for like the first, even like the first month, and I still struggle with it now of like, oh, there's so many other creators who talk
Mhm.
about Laravel, who make videos about Laravel. There's Jeffrey Way, there's Aaron Francis, there's, you know, Povilas. There's so many people. And how am I going to like compete with that? They
Right,
talk better,
right.
they've been around longer, they're smarter than me. But what is my perspective?
Mhm.
And so content trends come and go, personality stays. So I think this kind of flows into what are you doing well? And then
The
lastly,
Colin and Samir, just to riff on that one,
go for it.
Colin and Samir, in their interview actually talked about that a little bit, which was just like
Ooh,
content is more and more becoming about brand, because, like, you want consistency. Like, the reason there are some shows, like, both for, like, big TV shows that have now gone back to being, like, weekly releases, and there are also, like, creators who, like, the creators that you will watch any video they do is because you've built a connection with
yeah.
their brand, and, like, I don't really know what this is gonna be about, but I love their take on their, like, content. So
Yep.
like even if it's not something I'm necessarily interested in, because they've built trust and like uniqueness. And I think they were talking about this in like relation to like shorts and stuff, because
Mm,
it's like in a short, too many people are trying to chase trends. So like there's no consistency between short to short to short with you.
mm.
And like you don't get, you may go viral here and there, but like you don't get known for you.
Yep.
And so like you're getting views, but you're not growing.
I think like that's the key is like this is number 4 for a reason. Like all this stuff has to happen because there's so many people, and this kind of plays into like the number 5, the last and final one of this that I wanted to point out. But
Mhm.
there's so many people who I watch on YouTube that I will watch any video that they make because I have gotten to the point where I learn, okay, I appreciate their perspective, or I trust them, or they're entertaining, whatever that fill in the
Yeah,
blank
like
is.
their editing style is like so different than everyone else's, and I just love seeing their creativity, like whatever it is.
Yep. Yep. But that didn't just happen on the first video I watched. Sometimes it
Right.
does. Like maybe there are outliers. But like this, I need a reason to watch a second video from you. Otherwise, I never will. Like that is a thing that
Mhm.
comes with finding where, of nailing 1 through 3 consistently.
Right. I was gonna say consistently, because the people who find that didn't nail it on their first video either.
Yep, exactly. And the last thing is consume broadly. And I think this is one that I have always done a good job with, but I haven't figured out how to do a good job with this in areas that don't relate to YouTube when it comes to uh, when it comes to work life, when it comes to even like family life and personal life, of what does it look like to watch things or to like get inspiration from things that are not even remotely
Mhm.
related to what you feel like you are good at.
Josh, I don't
Yes.
know how this happened, but we are on the same wavelength
There we
today,
go. I
because
love it.
like what I have for the second half of the show is literally taking that question that you just had, which was like, I don't know how to consume things outside of my niche and draw inspiration from them. That's like literally what um the second half is. It's a new segment type that I want to do as part of our show. And it is exactly this. So I'm very excited now to, because it's like this is a perfect segue. Before we
Let's
get
do it.
there,
Segue it up.
let's hit some B-roll
Okay.
behind the scenes,
Yeah, we can do it.
and we'll segue into my thing. So I just want to mention this real quick. We'll build up a little anticipation for the new segment by doing this. I have been feeling very guilty, um, because I feel like I could do more for the show.
Hmm.
And like I've been letting that eat at me, and I'm like, I know I want to be doing more, but I have so much, like the Laracon talk and this new job is literally just like punching me in the face. And then like by the time I get done with like my job, it's like I've like now gone from taking multiple breaks a day to like not taking any breaks. So like when I get off of work, I'm like, I gotta be off of work because my family deserves my attention.
Yeah.
And I felt like really guilty about that. And I did some self introspection. And was thinking about it, and I just thought, I don't know if it matters. Like I do think I do think we could do more. Like
Yeah.
we can always do more, and in the future we probably will do more.
Yeah.
But I was like thinking back, I was like, do you know what we have done though? It's like we've done a really good job of showing up on Friday and having this live show, and like that's what we were. That's like the thing. So we're
Oh
showing
yeah.
up, we're doing the thing, and I feel like I come very prepared for the thing. The last week's episode just felt electric with John. Like it was great.
Mm.
We've already got another guest lined up. Like I'm starting to feel momentum with the
Yep.
thing. And
Yep.
so it's like, I know there are so many more things we could be doing, so many levers
Mm.
we could be pulling, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I'm trying to like not put guilt on myself to just say, like, just show up and do a good job every Friday. And at some point in the future, it will make sense to do more and to be able to do more.
Oh yeah. It's funny that you say that because I had uh I was on a couple podcasts that I recorded this week. I can't remember which one I said this on, but this analogy kind of came to me, and this was kind of in retrospect of my own personal content and also like kind of like the Aaron Francis momentum of, the high maximum effort era in a
Mm,
lot of ways.
mhm, mhm,
And I came to this conclusion that, imagine you are driving a car, and at the start of your journey, you still have your destination, but you have, this, like, I don't know. Let's just say that this is like a Lamborghini,
ooh,
um,
very
Lamborghini
PG.
Hurricane. There we go. I had to say it. But you are full pedal down,
Okay.
and you are in that era to drive there. And that was where I was when I was unemployed. That was where I was like at the end of last year.
Mm,
Um, and then like personal life happened, and I moved, and I started doing like more marketing videos for Laravel, and we launched a whole bunch of
mhm,
like products. And I kind of like, I did not decrease that acceleration, but I think
okay.
I swapped it out for like a minivan.
Mhm.
So
So you
that
can carry more
acceleration is still pressed.
stuff.
I haven't bought a minivan yet,
You
but
got
we
more
probably will.
baggage, Josh.
We probably are for the next year. But the vehicle of
Right.
which I am trying to now get to that destination has changed, because
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
there's
I like
more things that I'm thinking about. There's more things that I've like, jumped
to
in
hold on
the
to.
the
Yep.
proverbial car.
I was about to say you've got more dependencies now. Like you could
Yeah.
like children. Like you now have to be able to factor in holding a lot more responsibility and a lot more focus on
Yeah.
this.
Keeping people more safe.
Yeah,
Whatever like
that's true.
analogy you want to
That's
say
so
it.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that acceleration still hasn't pulled up. And I think for this show, I think we did it. One thing we did a really good job on is that we decided, hey, we're going to do it live,
Hmm.
because I think that's like had this consistency effort where I don't think we've released the pedal, but I think eventually we'll get to a point where like, okay, we'll swap out our little, maybe like I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe this is just a Power Wheels car right now.
Oh, that. Yeah.
And we'll swap it out for
Driving
a,
it from the outside currently. We are making it
yeah, we,
go.
we are just pushing it as we push down the
Yeah.
pedal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a point where like we've set the groundwork, and our effort doesn't change, but
Right.
the surrounding will.
Yeah. And if you will, we will get a real vehicle so we can bring some people on board to help too. I
There you
think
go. There you
because
go.
I think it's very much a Aaron, I think, was talking about this in his newsletter that he sent today, where it was like, there's a lot of little things that it's very easy to say, I could just do this for a
Mm,
lot of your life. Um, and it's only, oh, it's only 10 or 15 minutes here or there. But at some point, it's like, you need to start being able to identify things that other people can do if you want to be doing, if you want to do more, you don't have to do all of it yourself. And I
yep.
think I think we'll get to a point if we do this long enough, um, where we will find the path to being able to like bring some revenue, whether it's sponsorships or whatever it is, to where like it will make sense to be able to like shop out growth,
Yep.
like growth pieces to people who to create assets for us for growth, etc.
Yep.
Um,
So I think the
so
win currently is like consistent live stream, guests every now and then, and just like show
show
up.
show up,
Okay.
be known for doing this thing, and then we can just always make it better. We can find new vehicles the longer we do it. I
We
love
can
that.
refine it.
Oh yeah. Who knew? Who knew? Did you know you could
I
refine
do.
things? You could just riff on it for a little while and then just make it a little better. It's great.
I love it.
Um okay. So, let me segue
Speak about
back to
riffing.
the segue. Back to the segue. So, the end of what you were saying, you said that you don't really like fully understand outside of like what you're familiar with on like how to draw inspiration out of things. And one thing that I talked about before we got on here was like, or yeah, I think before we got on here is that I've got like another conference that I'm speaking at in September that's like more of a
Mm.
design related one.
Yep.
Um, and there's these like three pieces of like being a creator or creative designer, whatever you want to say, that like AI won't ever be able to replace.
Yeah.
There's taste, there's soul, and there's craft. Now, it's all just fluff. Like it's just words, but like putting words to concepts that people just know, like helps, I think a lot of people learn or like realize what they should be spending time on. Um, and so the way that I think about it is taste is your ability to curate. Taste is your ability to like look at something and say, "Oh, I like that," for XYZ reason. And then the soul is like your understanding of like why something, like what makes something emotionally, like be able to connect emotionally to something. So like a lot of designs, you look at them and you're like, I don't feel like it's just pure utility, and like there's nothing that would keep you loyal to that product if it stopped doing that utility. Soul
Mm,
is like products that's like, okay, maybe they mess up here and there, but like you are very loyal to that product regardless because like you've built a connection with that product. And like
yeah.
that's like the soul of like being able to like put soul into your work. That's like the brand that we were talking about, like your brand for creators, like what people know you for is like the soul of it. And then the craft is just like expertise, like just pure unadulterated like reps of like I've done this over and over and over, and I know this thing like with more detail than anybody else. Like your level of like craft is like your level of expertise. So those are the three things. I want to have a new segment on our show that I do periodically. I was going to do this as a newsletter, and then what we were talking about in the B-roll made me think about it, which is just like, why should I start up a new thing?
Yeah.
Um, in like a different medium, a different format. I think it still like could fit there, but I'm just thinking of like what can we put into the show to try out.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to like we already have a vehicle. Like you mentioned, we already have a vehicle, like a delivery vehicle for like content and information and fans and people who are like part of our community. So like something that I like want people to learn. And it's so funny. I had like a brand for this and everything with like names for stuff, but like the idea was like this one was called Frequency because it's all about like being able to like listen to different frequencies was the idea, that you may be out of your norm and still be able to curate what you like about it.
Mm,
Um, so this I'm calling this we're going to call this Frequency for now. I'll probably think of a better name at some point that's more aligned with our show. Um, but let me just throw this up here. Okay, so the idea is I want to show how I curate, like how I look at things
okay.
outside, like how I just look at stuff and use that to inspire my work.
Mm,
In a hope of like being able to share some of that process for like how to be a curator yourself, like how to curate taste. How do you get better at like elevating your taste? So this is a group of things that I just really fell in love with recently. Just I stumbled upon one of them and I thought to myself, "Oh, I really like this." And the key to like getting your taste at a higher level is like when you see something you like, you have to ask you have to ask yourself like why do I like it? And you have to like sit with it for a little while and try to understand like why you like something, because like once you figure that out, that's how you can dissect something new that's out, like for instance that's like very outside. This is photography, photography with like graphic design kind of mixed into it, which is like outside of like my realm of expertise.
yeah.
It's not like a website, it's not like a game or anything. But I started seeing these and I really liked them, and so I like had to ask myself like why do I like them? um, and then once you find something you like and you can figure out, like for instance this is the first one that I saw, and I saw this and I don't know, like I saw it and I was just like, oh, I really like this, and it was just like this gut instinct. And so I asked myself like why do I like it, and I think it was because they picked a pretty like it's a normal photo to where like your first pass at it is like, oh, like you know immediately upon seeing it like what it's supposed to be, but it's got this like added element of wait, what's going on? So
Mhm.
so like you see it, and so like that's like one piece of this that I like. So like one thing you could pull from it is like how can you take things that are normal and in this case like how can you stretch them to surprise people, but like how can you do something to like something that people are used to seeing that will like make them more interested in it. And I think the other thing I liked about this one was like the color of it, and the like the feeling of like uniformity, to where it's like they literally took basically like the way that this works is like they took one pixel row and just stretched that one pixel all the
Yeah.
way down until here. And I was like, that is just so cool. So then I started finding like more. So this is like the same thing. But what they did was they, instead of taking like a single line of the pixels, they like did like like an outline of it. So like you get kind of this balance, this shape of like, oh, here's the scene, and it's like they took the background and just like use the pixel stretching to like create this like shape. And the way that that works is like it now draws your attention to this like scene of like this like roadway in like a very like old school like neon kind of thing. And so like these other ones are the same thing. Like this one's more like the first one where they just like stretched a single pixel, and then this one's uh similar, but they I like how they did this one where it was like the same thing, but they like did the same thing where they like cut out some foreground. Like there's a
Mhm.
foreground, there's a background, and then I like how they kind of like have this like little like pathway through here. But there's like more examples of that, where like somebody took it and did it a little different, like how they kind of riff on the original concept. This one only takes like a single piece of the photo and stretches that piece out. And so it's got this like almost like column portal looking thing here. I like this one because they took like random, not random, totally random, but like it's like very spaced out.
Yeah.
And like the same with this one, where it's like they didn't do every single one of them. They just kind of took things that were like highlighted and pulled those highlights up. So it's kind of got this like light blur effect. And then there's like two other cases that I saw that I really like. This one, it's like instead of stretching it the whole way through, they did a ton of like little layers of stretching pixels in the photo.
Reminds
Uh,
me of like a audio spectrogram.
yes, exactly. And then there's these ones that I really liked that were like taking it even just a step further, which was like we're gonna stretch things, but we're gonna do them at like angles and like shapes.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know. I saw this and I just really liked it.
What
And
would
I
you,
thought,
if you had to put a name for like what you would call this that could then like lead into, okay, how are you applying this outside of it? What would the name be?
right. I called it in my Pinterest board. I just called it stretched.
There you
Um,
go. I like it.
but it's just this like there's this concept of I think that what I got out of this one when I was like looking through these was just like with any visual, you can take something that somebody is totally normal and is going to just like scroll right on by, and you can you don't even have to like add something new. That's what I liked about it. Like they
Mm.
didn't layer something on. They didn't create like they didn't like have something that wasn't part of the photo to begin with become part of the photo to draw your attention. They used only like the photo itself and just like accentuated some piece about it to like catch your eye and draw your attention
Yeah.
in a unique way. And I bet this person probably did it with like, okay, like what if I like somebody could do the same thing by like, okay, like, well, what if I made the one person very big in the photo versus like everybody else? That's like one way to capture your eye. But like they just experimented with a bunch of things, and like this was the style and technique that like they ended up landing on. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like that. I want to that it just it started like hitting that like, oh, this is super cool. I could see how I could use this as like a technique, and like you just kind of pull that, you put it in your back pocket to say like, okay, like at some point I now have this like concept, this technique of how can I take something people expect and use just that but stretch
Mm.
it into something they don't expect.
I like it. I love it. Hey Ryan. Ryan says, "Hey folks, finally getting to jump into one of these. Glad to have you here."
Absolutely happy to have you here. Love that.
Uh, I'll make this next one quick so we can get into next week. wrap up on time. So this will. How about we call this one a teaser, and
Mm,
then you can like not next week because
yeah,
we'll
guess
have
number
Rob Hope
2.
on,
Yeah.
but the week after, um, I might actually be Lyricon, so I might not be there. But this will be a little teaser into
Oh,
your
well,
mind.
you'll be at oh, wait, the one you'll still be in Denver that Friday after?
I'll still be in Denver. I could probably hop on at the hotel actually, so we might still keep.
We'll see. We'll figure something out.
But I have been wanting to learn NeoVim.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
And I think it's because I've been getting into like this MIDI program. So we'll get into like this will just be like super quick of like putting into your head of like, okay, I want to ask why. First of all, I don't want to be like, oh,
Mhm.
just because. So
Right.
there's a
Right.
why, but then there's also like is it important? Is it valuable too? Like
Mhm.
I know my why is because I have really dug getting into MIDI programming recently, and
Yeah,
I
that's
want to
interesting.
do.
Please tell me more about that on another show.
Yes, we have to because I'm like almost all. I am like in the depths of Reddit and the dark web of everything. um,
That's awesome.
but I'm like, okay, there's just so much stuff there with like, okay,
Mhm.
you can literally it's literally hotkeys on key on a keyboard kind of thing, or just
Yeah.
it's hotkeys within a musical spectrum.
What?
But then it made me think, okay, NeoVim is like
Mhm.
really similar. Like there's so
Right.
much stuff
Right.
that like I have hotkeys for just random things,
Mhm.
but I haven't had that flow into. I don't even not want it necessarily for code. I want it for like
You know
writing.
who's really good? You know who's the right person to talk to about that? Um, Jesse Leet, old
Okay.
friend of the pod, Jesse.
Yep. Yep.
He, I mean, I'll be happy to tell you like why I learned Vim, and my feelings on NeoVim, etc. At some point in the show in the future. But yeah, he's the one who kind of got me introduced to all of it,
No.
and he's got his like whole setup with like this some open source tooling to do exactly that. Where he's got just
Mm,
a ton of. I've got like plenty of keyboard shortcuts myself for things.
yeah.
He's like gone next level with it for like
Yeah.
being able to change from like code workspace to debug workspace to like browse or like whatever, where like change he has like hotkeys to change window layouts completely, whereas like I've just gotten to the point where it's like I got hotkeys to like, all right, move this window to this half and this one to this half. He's got things where it's like, nope, I press a button and it opens the programs and automatically puts them at like the right widths that I want
Yeah.
to be at, kind of thing. All sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, that's you're definitely in the right train of thought where you're connecting this concept of like hotkeys and what do they call them? There's something I'll have to we'll talk more about it in the next
Mapping.
episode. There's a there's a there's like a phrase for people who use Vim for like your key combinations,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Well, yeah. What does your next week look like then?
My next
What are
week
you planning?
is it's the last week before we both leave to head to Laracon. Next week I'm practicing my talk like 200 times.
There you
Like
go.
I said. So it's just like practice. I've got I've got this little fella here. This is Osmo Pocket 3, and
Ooh.
I am going to be like trying to use it here because when we get to Laravel, I want to do like a vlog. I think it'd be super fun to do like a vlog style series of video, like short videos at the conference of like travel day, pre-game day at the conference, like talking to people, asking questions, trying to clip them together
Yeah.
because I think it would just be like a really fun, like one of the reasons we want to do the show is to build community. Um, and so I think like doing like little clips where we're actually at places with the people that we like our communities, like capturing videos of that in some shape or form would be like part of what I would want to do with our thing.
Yeah. I love it. I like it.
How about you? What you up to next week?
Yeah, my next week is crazy. So I have a lot of Laravel stuff. There's some things that I don't have to do anymore. That's kind of like gotten pushed back a little bit, which is fine because there's a lot of other things that are going to fill its place. Um, but then I kind of have like three things on my mind for next week. One kind of random one that I just thought of is we should like I think we still have time. We should get some Riff and Refine stickers, Riff and Refine.fm stickers.
Ooh, that would be good. Okay, yeah. I think I can come up with something for that.
Because that would be fun. It would be a good way to like we'll market ourselves. Because
Yep.
I don't think I'm bringing personal stickers this time.
Well,
Honestly.
I've got us dropped in the. I've got like a promo slide in my talk at the end to talk about
Nice.
Riff and Refine. So
There we go. I love
get
it.
that.
I love it. Sweet. But yeah, the three things I'm kind of like focused on next week. Right now, I'm really into, especially with AJ being able to help take a lot of editing stuff off my hands. I'm really into, okay, how can I literally make my videos better? Not just for me,
Right.
but for Laravel, for anytime I'm on a podcast, anything. Like I want to make how I talk, how I think about talking, how I think about content, how I think about stories better. And so I am like going through a couple like courses. I just got a course by Colin and Samir, where like it's hey, come up with 50 high performing video ideas in 5 days. So I'm on day 2 right now. So by next week I'll have at least 50 ideas.
I want to hear an update about that, even with Rob. I know we got a guest, but I want to hear about how that goes.
There's some good ones. It's really training my mind into things I kind of knew, but it's putting it into a different framing, as well as like then thinking, okay, this is the reason why I know that this video that I made did really well. This is the reason why I thought this video would do well and it doesn't. And
that's so
and
interesting.
It's so fun to like think about that now. And I feel like I have more headspace to do that.
I was just thinking that now that you've taken your fingerprints off of some stuff, you've freed up some of the mind palace to spend on important things.
Bringing it full circle. But yeah, then the other two things that I can give updates on in the future is one, I'm thinking about like how I can have different, again, now I have the headspace to do. So I'm thinking about how I can have my office be more modular in the sense of like I technically built it to have at least 2 different recording spots, but I haven't used the other one. And so I've been thinking about that. And like I got to do like a fun for my personal channel, I got to do a fun kind of like sketch comedy ad for Bento.
What? Oh, I love that. Heck yeah.
And so it was so fun to put together. I was like, oh, I had this idea because I like when people do like the ads that are like more of like a skit.
Yeah,
so
yeah, like don't just like read something off to me, like try to entertain me even if I know it's like fake. Let's do it.
Yep. And it was fun to put together. So I'm excited to do more of that, and setting up my office to be more modular will help. And then the third like thing is I've been into MIDI, like really big. So I'm putting together a DIY modular MIDI keyboard set that is completely remote powered, run by either an iPad or I can have my own Raspberry Pi that I can put into. And so it's still in the works, but it is meant to be strapped on and me holding it to be played like more of like a guitar kind of thing. So that is like, it is in the very early stages. I'm putting it all together.
Heck
but
yeah,
hopefully
dude.
within like the next 2-3
got
weeks.
something in our content backlog. I'll have to bring it out for when you get your update about that.
I love it. But yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. Well, that's all for me too. Thank you all for being here today. Another show in the books next week.
What a Friday.
We've got Rob Hope.
Woo.
But everybody has a good weekend. It was great jumping on the mics with you, Josh.
It's always a pleasure.
Peace.
See ya.